Hey guys and girls, Star Wars fans. How are you? Uh, I hope you're doing good and you have recovered from the Last Jedi movie, as I'm not. Well, I'm here to talk about this new threat that has been hanging out on all of us and that seriously threatens to fuck up everything we loved and cared for the past 40 years. Literally 40 years. Call it a real Phantom Menace if you want. I apologize in advance for my broken English since English is not my native language. Okay, so I'm not here to talk about Last Jedi movie, not directly at least, as I have already gave this movie largely negative review on YouTube in form of my own video. I also left some various comments and also made some reviews on Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb website. Uh, for me, movie largely sucks, and as we speak, it dropped to 49% freshness on Rotten Tomatoes, so you pretty much get a picture. Uh, what I want to talk to you about today is what comes after. First in the episode 9, and then beyond it, which is actually the main topic of this video. Okay, three things first. There'll be spoilers, so if you're one of the persons who haven't seen the movie, which I highly doubt, I suggest you stop watching this now. Second, I'll try to be as concise as possible. I will not go too much deep into analysis because this video might take them 6 hours or something. And also, I'll try to leave out all the politics, all SJW agenda that was evidently taking over the whole franchise. So I'll simply try to exclude that as much as possible. Uh, I'll try to talk about practical implications about what might come and how Star Wars might look in the future, starting from 2019 possibly. Of course, this is just my opinion, and God, I seriously wish I'm wrong about this. I seriously wish I'm wrong. Okay, first things first. Episode 9. Well, name. Well, the name really doesn't matter. Probably words such as the Force and the Jedi's will not be in the name of the movie. So this is just shape of the things to come. Uh, in my comments all over internet, I was actually arguing that whoever comes to direct this movie, a last piece of this fake trilogy, and I call it fake trilogy because this is not trilogy, because we have no vision, we have no coherent story. We have three separate scripts, three separate directors, or maybe two, and you know, they are simply not matching each other. So this person will have a quite hard time to pick up all those pieces and loose ends that Mr. Ryan Johnson spread it across the Star Wars space and time universe. So let me get this straight. There will be no magic pill. There will not be anything like theory of everything that will explain, all those things that we were pissed about in maybe Force Awakens and for sure in The Last Jedi. There will not be any enlightenment that might make audience question their hearts and beliefs and forgive Mr. Ryan Johnson for all this mess he made. No, the damage is already done. So we have to understand that. The magic pill I mentioned above is actually not a cure, it's a cyanide pill. And that pill will wipe out everything we know and care about in the Star Wars. Now, I want to do with you one small mind exercise, alright? So please follow this. Uh, what director of the episode 9, J.J. Abrams or somebody else, might do, if they want to do it in the first place, they could, at the best, I repeat, at the best, minimize the damage and make this whole pain more bearable. Now, I myself most probably will not watch the episode 9, well, at least not in a cinema, and since I strongly believe, there's nothing worth watching. They killed the whole Jedi spirit in the movie, and they killed everybody I cared for, including poor Admiral Akbar. Man, that was awful. Anyway, so I have watched various videos on YouTube, and I isolated, if not all, but then most of the constructive criticism people made about Last Jedi movie. So, based on that, let me give you my short damage minimization scenario that could make episode 9 actually watchable. Now, this is very important, and please listen carefully. The sole purpose of this exercise is to actually isolate repairable elements and then realize which elements of the Star Wars are actually beyond repair. Those irreparable elements are actually something I see as the future that Disney intended for this whole Star Wars franchise. They will actually show you why even repairable damage might not even make sense anymore. Okay, so this is, I repeat, for me, the most optimistic scenario regarding characters and script that might be going toward some repairing direction. Okay, so Leia, Princess Leia, sorry. She's already dead on the very beginning of the story of the episode 9. So basically, in that case, you have to place episode 9 a couple of years after The Last Jedi. And, you know, her death might be used only as an explanation in those floating letters on the very beginning of the movie. Okay, so Luke, he might reappear as a Force ghost. He might even not, I don't know. Anyway, if he appears as a Force ghost, he might actually give some advice or two that actually might make sense. Poe, Finn, Rose, and Chewbacca. They might do something useful for change, or, you know, just leave them fucking out. I even feel ashamed I had to put Chewie with those three, but, you know, that's the fact, because in the Last Jedi he pretty much did nothing except eating porks, which is actually almost nothing, right? So Snoke origins and Knights of Ren origins could be explained actually by someone. Maybe Kylo Ren explains them to Rey, or somebody else explains them to Rey, or somebody else explains to somebody else. You know, it could be some short narrative, you know, followed by some certain flashbacks. Captain Phasma. Okay, I hate resurrected characters, but in this case, I hope she survived the fall, and I hope she might confront the Finn. You know, and maybe even lead some, you know, offensive on the Rebel Alliance or whatever they call them now. Personally, the reason why I think we need her is because she looked pretty much as a cool character. She had lots of much more space in the books, and also, I mean, she's so underdeveloped character. She was basically just a poster girl, and I really wish her role to be more than that. Okay, so Kylo, he must become more mature character. I mean, he's like 20 something, and that's the reason why I think we need more than just a couple of months or days between the 9 and 10. Between 8 and 9 episodes. So, I mean, let's face it, I mean, he's the leader of the First Order now. I mean, he cannot stay as a, you know, deeply emotional kid and rule the, you know, First Order like that. I mean, he must become more mature character at one point. So I think that's the reason why we need that gap of a couple of years between episodes 8 and 9. What actually might happen in the in his character, and what I see, which could be refreshing for the episode 9, is that I would like to see, but this is really seriously something personal, deeply personal, which I would like to see. I would like actually to see him fighting Rey and defeating Rey, as the Rey embraces the dark side and he actually embraces the light side. I think that will be very much cool development, but honestly, I don't think that will happen. But that's some just wishful thinking of mine. Okay, I left the last person for the end, the Snoke, right? So, if he survived as a half of the man, and we actually saw that it's possible in case of Darth Maul, um, if he survived, it would be actually quite surprising for me. But I leave, just because of the Darth Maul character, 1% chance that such case might happen. On the other hand, of course, this is not likely because, after that betrayal by Kylo Ren, I think he and Kylo simply cannot coexist in the same script anymore. But, who knows? Seriously, who knows? Okay, so as you can see, there is one character that I left out from this analysis. And of course, you guess that's Rey, right? So, why I left out Rey? Because I deeply think she's beyond repair. She's already built as superior character in the episodes 8 and 9, as Mary Sue, a flawless character, Deus Ex Machina, a bluntly competent hero who handles the gun, the stick, the lightsaber or yoke of the spaceship with ease. She never actually learned anything. She knows everything. There's no build up of her character as she already knows and feels things. The Luke Skywalker basically teaches her nothing. Her training was like 20 minutes. It was 3 theoretical lessons. The one of them is actually deleted from the original script. That's why we see only 2 of them. And after that, she even defeats Luke. She even defeats Praetorian Guards. And, just a couple of hours before that, in The Force Awakens, she even kicked the shit out of the Kylo Ren. I mean, basically, the Kylo Ren was saved by, Starkiller, surface cracking. And Kylo Ren was actually trained by, the Luke and the Snoke. So, she never had a problem with that. She also lifts stones, breaks bones, and, God knows what is meant for her in episode 9. So, there is one more character in this 2 movies so far that is actually identified as a natural force user. And yes, I'm thinking about a boy. The boy on the very end of the movie. So, that stable boy, if you remember, that's the guy who was playing with the broom on the end, is very important to understand this theory of mine. By the way, the boy name is Temiri Blagg. Yes, he has a name. And let me try to explain this. Now, let's see what he and Rey actually have in common. They're both users of the Force, which means that they do some crazy shit they cannot explain, and they're basically overcoming their fear of using that Force. They're both young, and they're both nobody. They're both social rejects, slaves, garbage collectors, So, in those terms, actually, the race heritage does even make more sense, that she's nobody. So, now I want to come to the most important point, and that is actually the reason why am I even recording this video. The last thing, which is actually the common for all both of them, is that they are not Jedi. Both of them, they are not Jedi. Now, for a boy, that's pretty much self-explanatory, right? But some people might say, okay, but what about Rey? Well, no, sorry, no, she's not a Jedi. She never received the Jedi training, and she does not have affiliation to the Jedi Order at all. Luke was the last Jedi, and that's it. As he explained to her on Acto, or whatever the name of that shitty planet was, Force does not belong to Jedi, nor Sith. And that's the whole point of the Last Jedi movie. Kylo jumps on the same bandwagon by suggesting to Rey that they could rule the galaxy as a, well, whatever they could become. Hence, basically, he rejects the concept of the dark and the light side. Such thing does not exist anymore. The Force is what we make of it. So, a couple of days ago, even Rian Johnson said that Princess Leia was not Jedi when he was asked about that, infamous Mary Poppins flight. Many people, including myself, were actually outraged by this statement of his, but think carefully. Rian Johnson actually never said that she did not use Force. He just denied her affiliation to the Jedi Order. Additional proof of that rejection, as we know it, lies in the heavily symbolic scenes that we all seen in The Last Jedi. First of all, that Luke's blue lightsaber, the one, the Obi-Wan gave him on Tatooine in the episode 4, and it would actually found miraculously way back to him, is broken to pieces. Second, the Luke's Jedi outfit, together with Luke, is gone with the wind. I'm talking about those, the relics that Jedi were built on. It's his lightsaber and the cloak. Those things are gone. The third thing is that, okay, now Yoda burns the Force tree. It's basically the Jedi library that Luke had on that island. And as the Yoda says, the page turners does not need it anymore. Okay, now the last remaining six books are actually, or whatever the number was, are now actually on Millennium Falcon because Raiden picked them up, obviously. And but for this part, I actually believe that Disney wants to keep it as the wild card. In case somebody might think of getting the franchise back to the less radical turnout. And I honestly don't think anybody's gonna read those books anyway. So because like Yoda said, Rey already knows those things. So I mean, they'll probably be kept just for commercial purposes, just to show that okay, the kids, the books are good. You should have some of them in the library, the paper stuff. Also, the Vader's helmet is destroyed. Basically, I don't know. I really apologize for this. I don't know, was the Vader's helmet on the Starkiller base or was it in one of the spaceships? I don't recall, but anyway, I'm pretty much sure that thing is gone. Also, the Kylo, he smashed his own helmet into pieces in the movie, so that symbol is gone too. Okay, what about the homemade lightsaber the Kylo made? Well, that thing is still alive, but he is not Sith. So basically, we have a homemade lightsaber made by a guy who is not even a Sith. So, see, that thing is still around. And pretty much sure, I'm pretty much sure that, you know, his lightsaber will actually be destroyed in the episode 9. Uh, how? Possibly, uh, I think. Don't forget that we still have the green lightsaber from Luke Skywalker. I don't even know where the thing is now. But anyway, I wouldn't be surprised that actually that in episode 9 we see the scene where the Kylo and the Rey fight, because the Rey actually needs a lightsaber to defeat the guy who fights with the lightsaber, right? So I think she might even use the green lightsaber. She might even come back to that planet where the Luke died and find the lightsaber under some stone or something, and she might pick it up and she might come back in the episode 9 and in the final confrontation with the Kylo. I think that even I'm not even excluding scenario that both lightsabers might actually be destroyed. So, okay, let's say this now. Well, Kylo doesn't have anything now. Kylo is basically nobody now. He lost his master. He lost his grandfather's relic. He lost his own mask. He's nobody. And that makes him very close to Rey. He's basically just as a Rey. She has her own doubts. He has his own doubts. So they become basically the problematic teenagers with too much power on their hands. And that's it. I think if you watch that from the symbolical point of view, you will see that they're basically switching from Star Wars to something else. What does this actually remind you of? A bunch of teenagers with supernatural powers, and basically they decide in the future what they want to do with that superpower. To help and fight the crime or injustice, or they actually want to do some nasty stuff with it. Honestly, and this is like my last slide, this thing reminds me on only one franchise, and that's the only franchise which actually comes to my mind. It's like, the X-Men. Okay, so think of it. We have a case with, as I said, a bunch of teenagers. So each kid has his own force talent. It discovers it in the bathtub, or while defending the friend from bullies in a school or something. Of course, those kids, they need a guidance. But they have a Grandma Ray who will might open the school for extraordinary talents, and she explains to them that they have to believe in themselves and do some good stuff. Fuck the force. That power is actually in you, so you don't even need to learn anything. Just accept it. Because, Grandma Ray, she did it like that. It was her way of becoming the force user, force sensitive user. Basically, it's the same thing as a mutation in the actual X-Men series. I mean, just don't fight it. Just accept it and use it. So, she basically becomes something like a Charles Xavier, teaching kids mostly self-control because, they are also fucked up, abandoned, poor, mistreated or something. So, on the other hand, we might have some kids, with those, same talents, but, they choose to do bad stuff. Like, I don't know, like robbing the spaceships loaded with money or drugs. They like to mistreat or kill animals. or they simply bully others. So they will be encouraged to do so by probably some totally new characters, some badass Magneto, and I don't think that will be Kylo. The Kylo will probably not continue this journey in the following movies, and I think he killed Han Solo, right? So I'm pretty much sure in the episode 9, he will probably have to pay for it. That's the Disney way, and honestly, I agree with that. He has to go. The problem is that, of course, I'll be gone too. I mean, the Star Wars will, and I'm pretty much sure, become the story of the conflicted teenagers, and those kids will try to discover and rediscover themselves. And I'm really not watching one more cheap X-Men flick. As far as I'm concerned, the Wolverine daughter, she can join the rebellion or whatever the main story they intended to make it from. Don't get me wrong. I love the original X-Men series, but this is a Star Wars. This is not X-Men. So the last question is, why would Disney do even that stuff? Well, it's simple. With decentralized structure of characters and ideas, opportunities are basically infinite, literally infinite. Imagine like a 200 episodes of the Force Kids series. Hey, why not? In one episode we have like some ice cream kid from Tatooine, or Jakku or whatever, fighting a gang of Hutts. In the next episode, we have some, force-sensitive Ewok wants to help his old father, build a new tree home. So, I don't know, he's using, a force lift capability to, to move the timber from the ground to the, top of the trees. Mama Ray might actually reappear here and there, giving some shitty, ambiguous advice with the romantic background music for a hefty fee, but that's it. So, as far as I'm concerned, in one of the episodes, she might even meet Princess Sophia the First. Who knows? Of course, there is a possibility those conflicted teenagers, they might still have lightsabers, but I'm pretty much sure that their use might be brought to minimum. Okay, now, and the end, let me just get back to my previous episode 9 scenario analysis. Knowing all this, presuming all this, does any of the scenarios that I mentioned previously, do they even matter? Seriously. Who gives a shit about Knights of Ren anymore? Snoke background flashbacks? I don't think so. You want to know who the Snoke is? He's nobody. Just as a Rey, just as the broom boy. Snoke, he's the guy who got badly beaten by his stepfather, and then he was accidentally he slipped and then he fell in a barrel with like a corrosive rocket fuel or something. So he saved himself by force levitation. He killed his evil stepdad, by force choke or something, and then he wanted to start some ridiculous order because he thought he's unique. Okay, that's your explanation who the Snoke is, who the, Knights of Ren are. Live with it. Seriously, live with it. Episode 9. So basically, for me, the episode 9 is basically the rise of everybody. Because everybody deserves the Force. You want to know why Rose didn't die while she was ramming into the Finn? Because she's a Force sensitive. I can tell you that now. You want to know how Finn defeated Phasma so easily? Because he's Force sensitive. And I mean, I don't know. You want to know why and how BB-8 drives AT-AT? Yep, it's the Force. Okay, guys and girls, thank you for watching this. That's it from me. I really would like to hear from you, your thoughts, rants, comments, and critics. Let me know what you think about this video in the comment section. For the end, I really would like to say, may the force be with you, but, for me, that doesn't make any sense now. Over and out. Thanks.